As the chair of the Senate Communications and Technology Committee, we continue to hear about roadblocks created by a 20-year contract that was entered into by the administration to essentially have a middleman in place to market and lease state-owned assets. So if you're a high-speed internet provider and you're seeking to utilize state-owned assets to further deploy broadband, the middleman negotiates the contract. To date, we've not received information on how this middleman is doing and if it is connecting the dots between state agencies, their assets, and broadband deployment. Do you know of any instances where the state property under your jurisdiction has completed any deals through this contract to deploy internet in certain areas of the state? So part of this 20-year contract was originally focused on closing the digital divide. However, that effort has been abandoned, and it is now a monetization program for the state and the third-party middleman. So has your department received any funding as a result of this contract? And if it has, where is that reflected in your budget?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you for the question. I'm going to have to lean on Mike Walsh, who's our broadband and tower coordinator. I do know the governor's made broadband access a priority. He's asked all of us, to do our share. And we were able very recently to work with some of the counties that had gotten CARES Act money. We are the managers of the public land. We're the deciders on broadband on the public lands, and we were able to help Fayette County and Bedford County get broadband connectivity, when needed. We also work with the Pennsylvania State Police who do their effort on
and we appreciate
towers.
Those efforts very much. But if you could you please speak directly to the question, and that is,
yes.
Have you been able to lease any of your assets? Have you received the funding from the leasing of those assets? And if you have, where is it reflected in your budget?
Okay, Mike, you're going to have to pick up on that specific detail. It sounds like possibly first.
Look, here now. So the contract you're referencing, Senator, if I understand you correctly, is a contract between the Department of General Services and Insight or Agile.
Correct.
So I think first they would have those kinds of answers. We have not had any agreement on expanding broadband specifically through that contract where money has changed hands yet, to your point.
So no
we've done other
Department
things.
of Conservation and Natural Resource assets have been leased through the Agile contract. Is that correct?
That's my understanding as I sit here. We've done other projects where they've been engaged in discussing the projects with us. There have been folks who have asked for information about tower sites on our land, and we've been providing information. We've been looking at potential projects, but I don't believe any money has changed hands based on that contract to date with our
Very
agency.
good. Thank you. I appreciate that. The reference to the fact that COVID-19 has really forced Pennsylvanians to work and learn, receive health care, interact with their state government from home. Obviously, the importance of reliable, high-speed internet has been highlighted, and closing the Commonwealth's digital divide, I think, is a joint aspiration. One of those impediments to bridging the digital divide is addressing broadband infrastructure siting impediments, particularly in rural parts of the Commonwealth, and was just wondering if you're aware of a policy statement that was adopted over 2 decades ago by your predecessors that bans the construction of new towers and other related broadband infrastructure on state game lands. We have been told that DCNR regional staff is citing this policy statement memo when they deny broadband providers from accessing critical infrastructure in state game lands to expand both wireless telecommunications and broadband connectivity. So I'm wondering if upholding a complete ban on siting new broadband infrastructure in state game lands is appropriate, and particularly in light of the fact that this infrastructure is better able to be integrated or blended into natural environments. Would your department be willing to repeal its ban and facilitate bridging the Commonwealth's digital divide and preserving the integrity of our natural resources?
Yeah, I'll answer your question. We have a lot of conversations about towers. We have, as I mentioned before, again, this is on the DCNR lands, not state game lands, so they have their own tower management.
And I understand you've been
ours
very helpful with the DCNR lands, but I'm speaking specifically to state game lands.
Okay, so they have their own authority on that. Pennsylvania Game Commission is an independent commission, and they have their own land-based authority. But the tower point you made is relevant to us. We do work with state police, as I mentioned, on the public safety aspect. That's an exception to any tower moratorium, and then we work with the companies. They're working on broadband to co-locate. Frankly, we have a broadband and connectivity need ourselves. We've got 175 work locations, and many of them are in rural areas. And so for our staff to do the work we need to do, we also need access. So Mike's leading our initiative on connectivity. He's working with CCAP and county commissioners when there's a need that pops up at the county level, and he's on a team with DCED and DGS on issues of both broadband and towers. And again, we don't do anything. I mean, we don't control the Pennsylvania Game Commission at all, but on our DCNR lands, all of what I said is how we're approaching that. So would you like Mike to expand on that, or was that adequate?
Well, I believe that I have run out of time today, but would like to just ask one quick question as the chair of the Senate YMCA caucus. When will the department and the Department of Health release guidance for summer camps? Are you able to share any updates for me to provide to our YMCAs?
I know everyone's waiting, and I know we're the CDC and Department of Health had recent upgrades. I know, John, do you know what the answer to the YMCA? We're working on our own. We host a number of camps, Scouts, YMCA, our own camps. We're working to update that, understand the guidance as soon as we can. Do you know when we'll have an answer, John?
So we are working with the Department of Health. We don't have a set date yet, and we hope to have something in the very near future.
Very good. I will look forward to receiving that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.